Hello and welcome in everybody to another video. Today we're going to be talking about the C1 Spirit and why it's already obsolete. If you have this ship and you haven't upgraded it yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. And this pains me as a Crusader fanboy, as a Spirit fanboy. I raved about the ship when it came out. I was like, this is the perfect daily driver. Well, it ain't no more. You know what I'm saying? At this point, you know what I'm saying? CIG might as well scrap the development of the C1 Spirit because ain't nobody gonna use it. I'm sure a few people will use it, just because they love the Crusader aesthetic, but in terms of like it actually being useful and better than its competition, it won't be. It simply won't be. And its main competitor, as I said in one of my other videos, when we're talking about the Zeus class of ships, someone in the comments said that the Zeus and the C1 aren't comparable because blah, 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 blah. I compared them because of their size, which I'm going to get into right now. So let's get over here and let's load in the CL, right? So we got our CL right here. And you can see here that they are very comparable in size. I think there's only like less than a meter in length between the two of these ships. Not a meter, but a few meters in length between the two of these ships. And as we overlay them inside of each other, we can see that they are very, very comparable. The main difference is between these two ships is this right here. The cross section of the A1, or not the A1, but the C1 Spirit is so much bigger. And that is a downside. Okay. The other downside to having an A or C1 Spirit, I keep saying A1, my bad guys. The C1 Spirit is, it seems to me that, well, it's not as it seemed to me, but the engine is not mounted to the hull of the ship. So that means like if you lose an engine, this becomes increasingly harder to fly. Okay. Once we come over here to, the Zeus, we can see that it seems to me, at least in this, in this pre-rendered drawing that we have here, and again, I know that things are subject to change. I'm very well aware of that. But the wings seem to be, this piece right here does not seem to be all a piece that will break off and make your ship pretty much unflyable. It seems like these engines are mounted to the hull of the ship, which is much better. And it has almost two and a half times the cargo space, coming in at a whopping 128 SCU, while the C1 Spirit only having 48 SCU of cargo space. And we all know it's going to have better shielding. The weapons are not, they're pretty comparable. The two size 4s for the Zeus and the size 3s for for the Spirit. It's going to make the Zeus just a better daily driver all around, and it makes me really wonder, should Crusader change some of their design language? Because with these ships being, roughly the same size and length, while one ship has almost 2.5 times the cargo space, and one ship has so little, it makes me wonder what they're doing with this internal space, right? Because they're both going to have the ship tractor beam, and they're both going to be doing the cargo in the medium role. So another ship that I'm going to be bringing into the viewer in just a second is the Freelancer Max, because the Freelancer Max is also in this class of ships. So let me bring the Freelancer Max in. I think the Freelancer Max is around 36 meters long. 38. Let me zoom out. And we can get a good comparison between these three ships. Now, again, the two ships on the right here are still currently in development, which means their size and dimensions and things like that could potentially change for balancing and whatever else CIG wants to do with them. So if I overlay the Freelancer Max here, we can see that the C1 just dwarfs it. It's a much bigger ship, right, in terms of like its cross section, which means, if you're going to be using the ship to run precious cargo, especially if you're going to be using the ships to run back and forth to Pyro doing the medium freight stuff while you build up your rep to get to a bigger ship, you're going to be able to be hit more. And with the 1 size 2 shield, it's just not going to be enough for the C1 Spirit. And if we overlay the Freelancer Max with the Zeus, we see that it's very comparable. Like it's almost just as wide. So you can get an idea of how big your Zeus is gonna be, right? How big your Clipper is gonna be. And I think that it's a fairly decent size. I think it's in the right size of ships. And I was saying in my video that I like this size of ships, because anything bigger than this, especially with master modes comes out and the engineering gameplay, it's going to be increasingly more and more difficult to have these bigger ships in the verse. You're really going to have to make sure your friends are online. You know what I'm saying? I think with the Zeus and the C1, these are still ships that you can probably do things. You can probably still run stuff solo. But as, like I said, master modes and engineering gameplay comes online, running your Hercules, running your Caterpillar, running your whatever large size cargo ship, it's just going to be much harder. It's going to be much more of a risk to be caught in that ship alone, especially if your ship's catching on fire and you have nowhere to put it out. They're going to have batteries. They're going to have all this stuff, and that's why this class of ship is so important to the game, because you can run it with I think the Zeus is a crew of 3, the C1 is a crew of 2, so you can run these kind of ships with a minimal amount of people, which is great. So another ship that's kind of in this class but not really is the Cutless Black. And I just want to get another comparison, because the Cutless Black is about, what does it say right here? It's 36 meters long. And I'm just going to overlay it just so you guys can see size comparisons between all of these ships. It's about as wide. The Cuddy's wider, of course, because it has the front wings right here. But we can see just how big this ship's gonna be. We can even put on the people right here to kind of get like another thing. But I wish I got like a first person mode so you can just like walk around the ships. But it's all good. So these are going to be your medium size ships. I think I might be leaving another one out that's kind of in this class. Let me scroll through here real quick and just see if I didn't miss any other medium haulers. I mean, I guess you could put the Valkyrie in this class too. But the Valkyrie is more of like a drop ship though. But you can see it here. The Valkyrie does have pretty decent cargo on it as well. But the Valkyrie is more of like a drop ship though. But we can see like the comparison in size and things like that. Once we overlay it, it's still in that 38 to 40, the 40, 50 meter range. I think they start classifying ships as large once they get into like the 60 meter range, which is going to be like your constellations, which I can spawn one of those in as well. I think the Taurus, yeah, this one says 61 meters. Hell, I even think that, well, maybe not. I still think the Taurus is still pretty good, just because the Taurus can be a missile boat if you need it to be. It can hold a lot of missiles. It does, have better weapons. It won't have better shielding, I don't think. I think the Zeus can have better shielding than this, but this is still it still can be potentially an offensive powerhouse. You do still have 2 extra turrets. You have the 2 size 4s and 2 size 5s that you can put on here. This thing does have more firepower. It has way more missiles that you can put on it. You can put the 48 size 1 missiles on the Taurus as well. So, and it does have decent amount of cargo. I'm not sure of the SCU of cargo that it has, but it does have a decent amount of cargo. So I just wanted to make this video real quick for you guys, just to give, you know, some size comparisons and do a little bit of verses and talk about ships that are upcoming into the game, and maybe what ships that you should think about trading in. And I truly and honestly believe that the Spirit C1 is essentially useless now. If you haven't already, go ahead and get yourself a Zeus Clipper. You're gonna be much happier. You're gonna be able to run your cargo missions a little bit better, and I think you're just gonna have a better time with the ship, especially with the extra shielding, it not having as big as cross section, and I just think it's going to perform against the C1 a lot better. If you guys want to see the next video, comment down below if you want to see the Zeus Mark II versus the Cuddy Blue, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.